Hello guys, good morning. Please, if you can hear me, just leave a comment. This is our first time going live on YouTube, and I really want to be sure you guys can clearly hear me. Just leave a comment below if you can hear me clearly, so that we can get started immediately. Let's go guys. If you can hear me, just leave a comment below. Let me be sure you guys can hear me. Good morning, Joshua Johnson. Good morning. Okay, I hope I am clear enough, please. Am I audible enough? Let me know, please. All right, we are starting in the next 1 minute. I just need to be sure everything is clearly okay and we are good to go before we get started. Just give me 1 minute, guys. All right, beautiful. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get started with our live session. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for joining. This is actually the first time we're going live on YouTube, and honestly, I cannot tell how I feel, but then let's just get started. So we're going to just be looking at few assets in the market and doing a little bit analysis on them, and we are good to go for the morning. And do not forget, if you are just joining or if you are just coming across this page, just check the description. You can join our Telegram channel. Okay, so let's start with volatility 25. Let's start with volatility 25. This particular asset, I think I actually dropped a setup on it yesterday on the analysis and all of that for you guys to learn on my Telegram channel, and I'm just going to be going over it again. Downside, the first thing I do when it comes to analysis, especially synthetic indices, is I come on higher time frame just to know the directional bias of the market, right? Just for me to know the directional bias of the market. I really do not want to go against the direction of the market, so I am always coming to my 24 hours time frame. Sometimes I go to weekly time frame, right, just to get the direction of the market. Not necessarily because that is where I want to pick a trade, but because that is where we show me exactly what I am doing, if I am trading against the market or I am trading with the market. And most often you want to trade with the market, not against the market. So first, on this volatility 25, it is very obvious that we are in an uptrend. We're actually in an uptrend on this 24 hours time frame, right? This is a clear break of structure to the upside, and technically what we are going to be looking after is for market to come back into a zone here so that we can make a continuation to the upside. However, as much as we are looking at this left hand side, we must not neglect the fact that there is also a structure at this right hand side, and I feel that is one of the mistakes a lot of traders make. They just look at the left hand side, neglecting what is on the right hand side, and that is really going to help you a lot, because it is the current market structure that will help you make a decision on what exactly you want to do, if you want to buy or you want to sell, or if the direction is same as what is on the left hand side. But obviously on this 24 hours time frame, our last break of structure is definitely to the upside, and it is very clear enough. So what we are just expecting is that the only low that would, you know, invalidate our buy setup, or that will make us know that no, we are no longer in an uptrend, is this low. When market takes this particular low, that is when we are going to be so sure that market has changed its direction from an uptrend to a downtrend. Until we have this low broken, obviously we cannot start saying we are in a downtrend. It is really, really, you know, visible. This is our break of structure. If anything happens below this, we are going to call it a break of structure. So I just go to my 8 hours time frame. Most often I use all the time frames. Okay, someone is saying sound is breaking. Is anybody also experiencing that? Let me know in the comments, please. Just let me know. Is any other person experiencing sound breaking or something? So this is my 8 hours time frame, right? This is our 8 hours time frame, and we're going to just, you know, leave out what we've done on 24 hours time frame and look at the current market structure. Now, okay, thank you very much, guys. It's very clear. Please, I don't know if that's your network, Mr. Joshua. So let's continue, guys. So now, if there is anywhere I'm going to look forward to proceed to the upside, even if I want to follow the direction of the 24 hours time frame, it should be around here. This is where we had a minor break of structure, and you can see the impulse that we had here. You can see how the impulse is. So if there is anything that, you know, will make me proceed to the upside, I am expecting market to come back and take this low, this particular low, which is a primary inducement for me. It is a primary inducement for me. If you don't know what primary inducement is, I have made a video on this YouTube channel also that speaks about, you know, primary inducement and secondary inducements. I would advise that you go and check it out. So on this 8 hours time frame, of course, we are going to look at the direction of where the 8 hours is going to. Personally, I love to use all the time frame. I don't know for others. You know, people will say you should use a particular time frame, but I am of the opinion that you should use all time frame, because those specific time frame that you are using, right, those specific time frame that you are using, sometimes it will not display what exactly you want to see in the market, and you will be forcing trade. But if you check other time frames, it might be displaying exactly what you want to see in the market. You know, different time frame has its own display. So I am of the opinion that you use different time frame and not be limited to just a particular time frame. So on this 8 hours time frame, like I was saying, we had a break of structure to the downside. This was our last break of structure. This was the last break of structure on 8 hours time frame. You see every other thing that was happening here, they are what we call range structure. Those small structure that were created after a break of structure. Personally, I love to call it range structure, right? They are just structures that did not give us a pullback. They are structures that did not create for us a clear and good pullback. So they are just small structure. And you can see that, you know, it is very evident here. We had a high, a low, a high, a low. And all of those structures were just creating gradually. We've not had a deep pullback back into where we had this break of structure. Hence why I called this low the last break of structure. That is why I am calling this particular low the last break of structure. Okay. So anything that would, you know, invalidate my sell setup for this 8 hours time frame is when market breaks this high. When market breaks this particular high, then I can say it invalidates my setup for a sell. I can say now I want to start looking for buy momentum based on the fact that even on the 24 hours time frame, market is at a good place also, but I am still expecting it to take this low. However, sometimes market will do something that will surprise you. It will not take the low you are expecting it to take, and it will just proceed to the upside like that. So if there is anything that will invalidate my setup on this 8 hours time frame, it is when market breaks this high. When this high is broken, then I know that I want to proceed to the upside. But currently, what I am just looking out for is a sell on 8 hours time frame. So I'm just going to be looking out for where I'm going to continue the sell on the 2 hours time frame. I'm going to check the 2 hours time frame. Sometimes you might check the 4 hours time frame to see what exactly the market is doing and all of that. And sometimes you might just go to 2 hours time frame and then you're good to go. So you can see what market did for us here. We started having a range structure. We started having market, giving us that weakness. Market is giving us that weakness around there. You can see how market started creating wicks. We started having weakness just to the downside at a very good point of interest. Okay, let me show you the point of interest we started reacting to. Market started reacting at this interest candle. We call it the interest candle. Okay, this is an interest candle. Market started reacting at it. It started showing weakness and all of that. Now, since we have weakness in the market, the first thing I just looked at was when we had this impulse to the downside. If you check the Telegram channel, if you check the setup I sent, you're going to see it was exactly at this area I pulled in to enter the market. Now, when I saw this impulse to the downside, I knew market is about, giving us a sell continuation. You can see that strong impulse to the downside, and I checked the 15 minutes time frame. It gave me exactly what I want to look at. Let me show you what 15 minutes time frame gave us. We had this. We had a break of structure to the downside, right? And we had a possible inducement which market actually came back to take. We had that inducement created. Let me zoom it in for it to be clearer. So this is an inducement. Immediately market took it. You can see the market started pulling to the downside, right? Let me back that out. You'll notice when we took out that inducement, market started pulling to the downside. That was when I knew, oh yes, the market was ready to continue. Now, let's see where we can actually continue our sell setup. Okay. It was around here I pulled into the market, I guess. Yes, it was around here. And the stop loss was on this high. And the take profits on this low. I put it in on this low. So now, if we're going to get our sell continuation, how do we get our sell continuation? That is what is our concern right now, right? So how do we get our sell continuation on this 15 minutes time frame? If there is anywhere we had our break of structure to the downside, okay? We had the last break of structure to the downside here. Let's check 2 hours time frame because there's a lot of noise here on the 15-minute time frame. See what we had here. If you are still following me, guys, just drop a fire emoji in the comments so that I can know you are still following me. Okay, so we had our last break of structure to the downside here. This is the real last break of structure to the downside. But based on what the market is doing right now, based on how we are pulling down, based on this impulse, there is little probability that market is going to come back into this zone anytime soon. Okay, there's a low probability, let's say 30% probability that market is going to come back into this zone anytime soon based on this impulse to the downside. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go on 15-minute time frame and see where we are not expecting market to break. So let me show you something really beautiful this morning, guys. So we had a break of structure to the downside, a break to the downside, we had another break, and boom, market came back to take this high. Market came back to take this particular high, and we had a break of structure to the downside. Now this is the deal, okay? When market takes this high, when market takes this particular high, let me mark that out. When market takes this particular high, then we know that we are reading all of this high created here. We know that we are reading all of this high. Market will just come back into this zone again. So it means we can leverage on this pending when market would break it. It automatically means that if market does not break it, then we are not going as high as that for now. So what are we going to do? This is a break of structure. See that impulse to the downside. So we are going to be marking out 2 points of interest in this kind of scenario. Now this is a possible liquidity. We'll mark the first PO high closer to our possible liquidity. This is a possible high for a liquidity. We'll mark the breaker. We'll mark the breaker. We'll mark the breaker, which is here. I will mark the sponsored candle. But I am going to leverage more on the breaker because that is where we have our close point. That is where we have our close inducement. Okay, that is where we had our close inducement. I'm not really seeing any inducements closer to this sponsored candle, so this is just it for my volatility 25. I am just expecting market to do something like this. Let's see, we might have a break of this low. We might have a break of this low this way. We might have something like this. And what? A continuation to the downside. This is a very high probability setup. We are just expecting market to come back to the breaker or the sponsored candle, but most often I'm going to leverage more at this breaker block for a continuation to the downside, and it is as simple as that. Let's check another asset, guys, and see what we have on another asset. Okay, let's go with volatility 101S. Okay, beautiful. So we'll start on the 24 hours time frame, just like we do it. 24 hours time frame. So what we have on 24 hours time frame, we had a break of structure to the downside here. This was our real break of structure to the downside. And this was a very solid and good point of interest for markets to in fact come back into. If you check this clearly, I want you guys to see something. You know, as we are making analysis, I want you to learn something. See what we had here at this particular POI, because sometimes you might even see this POI at any time frame. On any time frame, you might see this POI on any time frame. This POI is a very solid point of interest. Let me show you why. We had a break of structure to the downside there. See what we had? And markets came back to take this high. And we had those area filled up. We had that particular area filled up and add a break of structure to the downside. This is a major point of interest. This particular area is a major point of interest. So immediately you see markets, get into that point of interest and give you a change of character. In fact, you don't need to wait for another break to happen in most cases. See what we had here. A good change of character, and a change of character that is a major. You can see that, in fact, we took out a low also here. We took out our low here. Right. We took out a low. Beautiful. Now, that was what we had at that point of interest, which is really amazing, showcasing to us that we have a good continuation to the downside. So the next thing we are just going to look after is, where do we have our last break of structure currently? Our last break of structure is to the downside here, which is a very good area. We had a pull to the upside, taking this inducement. You can see that we took out a high. This is 24 hours time frame. Remember, this is a high. Also, we had ounce of liquidity. We had ounce of liquidity, right, this way. And you can see every other places has been filled up, a break of structure to the downside. So let's look at our 4 hours and see what we have on our 4 hours. Let's see what we have on the 4 hours time frame. So we had a break of structure to the downside here on the 4 hours time frame. This was our last break of structure to the downside on 4 hours. And technically, what we are seeing here is that we had a break of, markets taking inducements to the upside. We had this. So first, number one, what you want to do is look out for possible inducements. Number one, I have a good possible inducement here, which is this high, but I really don't see any points of interest close to this particular inducement. I'm not seeing any point of interest close to it. I'm not seeing interest candle. I'm not seeing breaker block. You can see that this particular high is so far from our breaker block. So let's mark out this fair value gap first. Fair value gap, which is also a good source of liquidity. Let's mark out our breaker. Let's mark out our breaker, in as much as sometimes markets will not come back here. Let's see, because of that impulse. You can see that was why I marked out that fair value gap first. Because of this impulse, markets might not be able to come back to that area. But let's mark it out first. And you can see that we already have inducement marked out. So let's see what market is currently doing on 2 hours time frame. Two hours time frame. You can see we are inside fair value gap. Honestly, in most cases, this particular entry is very risky. So I'll still stick with my breaker and my interest candle. You can see that the breaker is in alignment with interest candle. But sometimes market uses fair value gap for a continuation to the downside, but it is a risky trade. It is in fact my C setup. It is a C setup, so most often I don't really check it. So let's see what is happening here. We had a break to the upside, a change of character. Market is not even back here. Okay, we are currently stuck inside a range on volatility 101s. We are currently stuck inside a range. Let's see where market is currently reacting. Let's see where the reaction is happening. Had a very good sponsored candle. We had a change of character to the downside. 15-minute time frame. We had something really beautiful here. A break of structure to the downside. A break to the downside. Oh, we have a double top. This is really serious. This is a double top here. So I cannot even call it a major. I can't call it a major. In as much as it took out this high, but I still cannot call it a major because there is still a double top there. Where market is currently reacting to is not a major. Where market is currently reacting to, I cannot call it a major because of the double top. So currently we are stuck inside a range on volatility 101s. And if there's anything I just want to see, I just want to see market come back into this breaker block around here to make a continuation. Just because of this impulse, I am not marking out the sponsored candle, so I am just expecting it to come back to this area. And once market come back to this area, I'm waiting to get an entry confirmation in form of this. Let me show you the entry confirmation I am expecting to get when we get to that sponsored candle. I'm just waiting to see something like this, you know, like this and like this. Then we'll make a continuation to the downside. But for now, on volatility 101s, I am still inside the range until market states otherwise. I am still currently in a range. So guys, what do you think about the analysis we've made so far? Drop a comment below. This is where I'm going to be stopping. This is our first time on YouTube Live, and honestly, I'm so excited to have you guys on board. So let me know in the comment section if there's anything you think about this and all of that, right? So just let me know in the comment. Thank you really much, guys. I'm seeing your comments. Thank you so much. I'm going to see you guys on Saturday, same time, same channel. Have an amazing weekend, guys.